But in a place that I definitely know we got our eyes on, and some things that hindsight has us definitely replaying some of the things. What would you have done differently in free agency? And since I've already given
You
some of
go
my,
first. Go ahead.
but the McKissick,
Yeah.
you and I talked about this in the offseason about, we have a good two-headed monster. Once we saw how Brian Robinson worked and what that did for Gibson, kind of took, the weight of the world off his shoulders, they were a two-headed monster. Jonathan Williams emerged. I didn't see that. You called that out. Shout out to you. And he has definitely come in as a bruising back, and a second dose to kind of Brian Robinson. You know, Jared Patterson, a darling that we had a year ago, kind of fell by the wayside in the practice squad. And McKissick, there would be times when I'd be looking on there and be like, where is McKissick? Like, where? I haven't seen him in a while, until the point where I asked you that one time, and it's like, oh, he's hurt. You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh my goodness. And you go back to that trade that might have happened, and we don't know why he decided to come back. I mean, he was a big part of our offense a year ago, but we didn't have Curtis Samuel a year ago. Curtis Samuel and McKissick do essentially the same thing, where they're coming in, line up on the outside, come in the backfield, do the motion and whatnot. Curtis Samuel is different. When we get him, like you said, when you get him in his wheelhouse, that the poor man's Debo Samuel, if you will, he is a playmaker. Not saying McKissick is it, but you just having the same guy doing it's not common. You know what I mean? So that's one of those moves where I'm kind of like, you might have just kind of, you ain't got to go, but go ahead and go somewhere else. Like, it's just, there's not going to be that ball that we talked about at the beginning of the year. There's not going to be that many balls that can go around. We've seen their tight ends aren't getting as many looks, and they haven't played. Our De'Ami Brown, some of those other wide receivers aren't getting as many with the emergence of Samuel and Gibson at the backfield and McLaurin. It's not that many balls go around. McKissick, I just don't see a future here for him if things stay the way they are. So,
yeah, I think you hit it perfectly. And I almost wonder if they did let him sign elsewhere because of that. But then we heard a lot of the players complained when he signed with Buffalo. They went to Ron and the manager and said, what are you doing? We can't lose this guy. And it's almost like then we had to do this whole like, okay, we'll match it. We'll match that. We'll give you that, that type of stuff. But you're right. Like, if their plan the whole time was to get a Brian Robinson type running back, a bruiser, knowing that you have Gibson as you do, knowing that you have Curtis Samuel that you want to use as a weapon, you could have used that money. I think he got about a $5 million contract. So we're not talking about a lot, but we probably needed another veteran cornerback.
Yeah.
Against the Giants and against the Falcons, we were starting a 7th-round pick at corner. Now, I know we thought that William Jackson would work out, and so that's kind of why. But even still, we complained the whole time. We were really concerned about our number 4 corner. Yep. And there was a little, some veterans out there, and we could have used that money to get somebody, instead to provide some help on that in the back end there. So I agree with you. And as much as you and I, too, though, were sad when he signed with Buffalo and then giddy when he signed back with us. I mean, we were going crazy. Yeah. The fact that, he left Buffalo to sign with us. It's like you got to kind of look and say, that wasn't even fair to the player to bring him back here, because there's just, like you said it perfectly, there's only one ball to go around.
Right. Now we couldn't have expected that Wentz wasn't going to be in the game, and, that Taylor was going to be in there, because obviously Wentz did try to get it to certain people. He did try to move it out. Taylor, it's Terry McLaurin and a couple other guys. It's not he can distribute it around, but he's really going to Terry, and he's focusing on the running game and that type of stuff. So yeah, it's it's interesting. We couldn't have called that, but yeah, no, I completely feel you on that. Anything else you would have done? Definitely.
Yeah.
What about that trade with Carson?
I don't hate the idea. I don't hate the concept, because it's kind of interesting. I mean, you look at the options were Mitch Trubisky, they were Marcus Mariota, You know, I hope Jack is watching this or watches it later. I'm going to make fun of you. You said that we should have gotten Matt Ryan.
No.
You know, all these guys struggle that change team. So it's a wild situation. I mean, Russell Wilson, look what the Broncos are hamstrung with right now.
Right.
So I don't hate the idea, especially the fact that we can get out of it in a year, you know, if it's not working out. Because I don't know what other options. Because I wouldn't have wanted to go the 17 games with Taylor Heineke.
Yeah,
I'll say that. I would not have. And I don't think I love the quarterbacks enough to say that they are worth a second, third round pick to let Heineke take the first part of the season and then turn it over. Kind of like what the Falcons are doing. I don't know if Desmond Ridder excited me that much to say, yeah, that's the route we should go.
Right. And I honestly, looking back, I mean, I was amped about this, just like I was about Fitz Magic a year ago. You know, I wanted him in here, and I was excited through the off season, and we talked about it. It's funny on the YouTube channel. One of the most popular videos is us saying in training camp, Carson looks like he's struggling, and they lambasted us for that. Oh my goodness, are you kidding? Let him play. He's gonna be great. Colts fans are coming out the woodworks like, yo, yeah, they're either like, yeah, he's going to be this, or they're like, no, he's going to be great. So, you know, I liked the move. And honestly, like we talked about before, Carson still leads the team in passing. How many weeks has he been out? You know what I mean?
Gosh.
That's what I'm saying. But, okay, the whole persona of Taylor Heineke is coming in as backup. A year ago, he didn't have to be a backup for that long, not even a half, not even the first half of the game. This year, he had somebody else in there. Now, it'd be interesting to see what if we were 4-1 when the injury happened. You know what I mean? Did things change? You know what I mean? So I like it because it kind of put that chip back on Taylor's shoulders. He came back in. And you know, kind of had that energy about him, and he led the team, got them jacked up. You know, the schedule definitely helped, but there were some solid wins in there, a la the Philly game. You know, we were doing good in the Vikings game until obviously the late game interception.
Yeah.
But we have been in those, and it's because it's kind of that they signed me 2 years ago and brought in Fitzpatrick. He got hurt and I was in. Obviously, they're not with me, so they signed somebody else. They made a big move to sign somebody else and bring him in here. He played 5 games, and then I get another chance, fortunately, because he gets hurt. And now it's the do or die. This might be my last shot. So it's forcing him into a corner that I like. It's same thing with Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. Once Robinson came in, you know, we had a bunch of people talking about trade Gibson. If he gets that in his head, he's like, oh, snap. Well, I better step my game up. And now he's invaluable at all the different positions we kind of have him at. So, you know, I think it was good for that standpoint. Yeah. And like you said, the fact that we could potentially get out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.